I'm going to COP26 to represent the Irish Church at the behest of the Irish bishops, and also, and more importantly, to represent those people, few in number, in parishes throughout the country who care for God's creation, and to encourage parishioners at large throughout the country to take up the challenge of facing into the consequences of climate change and care for our creation. My hopes for the gathering are to network with others who have the concern for our environment, and to link up then as well with various faith groups who will gather, in addition to the politicians and the political leaders, for COP26. I think it does, and Pope Francis has made that clear in Laudato Si, Care for a Common Home, in which he highlights the fact that there is a spiritual crisis leading to the ecological crisis. So we need to make space in our lives for God. After all, it is God's creation. And one of the key lines for me is just a very short sentence in Laudato Si: we are not God. Because we are here as stewards of creation, and we have a particularly important interdependent relationship with all of nature, with all of life forms. Indeed, Thomas Aquinas from way back would have said that God's image cannot be shown alone through humanity, but through every single aspect of life, plant, animal, insects. So we share in a common home, and we need to protect all of life, every species, including ourselves. I think the first thing they could do is pray, and I know that there's a number of initiatives right throughout the country, people praying in conjunction with COP26. Also, they can engage in energy-saving initiatives, plant a tree, for example, stop the use of plastic. These simple practical actions can have an impact and can help those who are most affected by climate change, the poor, and also give hope to the younger generations who themselves are very concerned about their future, and so should we. I am happy that it's now an item for discussion, and that the Advisory Council have issued guidelines with regard to the carbon budget, and now it's a decision of the government to decide how each sector will take up the challenge. So it's good that the whole item is out there for discussion, because it hasn't been addressed up to now throughout the country, and particularly in local areas. The Church has, and the Irish Bishops' Conference has already divested from fossil fuels, and a number of individual dioceses, including my own diocese, have given a commitment to divest from investments in fossil fuels. Also through their agency Trócaire, and I cannot but mention them, that they've been doing tremendous work for years, and they are unique in that they are addressing poverty throughout the world, and in particular the poverty caused by environmental change. I'm somewhat overwhelmed by the facts that come to us via science. So I'm somewhat worried, but I'm also very hopeful. I'm hopeful because I know for the next generation, including my own nephews and nieces, I see some of them and the practices that they are engaging in. For example, buying second-hand clothes, being aware of what food they eat, not eating meat and whatever. So I'm hopeful for the next generation. And I was asked recently, is the Church involved in caring for the environment just to bring in young people? And my response was no. Rather, we have to go out to young people. So I am hopeful that young people are aware, and that the rest of us need to be aware so as to ensure their future.